Welcome back to RC101 with the Taoist Flyer. I love aircraft that can see obstacles and avoid them, so when I heard about the new Space Nova from Silverlit, I just had to try it out. This aircraft is a new 3-channel twist on an old design. You see, a lot of you may remember the Vectron Wave, the one-channel UFO that could only fly up and down. There were a lot of aircraft like it, but they were all limited to just moving up and down. If they got close to a wall, they would usually just hit it and crash. Well, now Silverlit has finally devised a way to control this type of aircraft by basically flipping it over and adding a swash plate connected to a sensor. It's an ingenious little design. There's an infrared light on the outside of the foam body, and right next to it is an infrared receiver. As the foam body spins around, it shoots infrared light in a 360-degree radius, and when the infrared light reflects off a wall, the receiver notices it and activates the swash plate for a brief second. These little pushes from the swash plate on the rotor keep happening until the aircraft moves and the sensor no longer sees the light reflected from the obstacle or the wall. The swash plate in the sensor setup also means that you can make the aircraft move up, down, forward, backwards, and left, right with the transmitter. The infrared receiver on the aircraft looks for the signal from the transmitter, so you need to keep the transmitter pointed at the aircraft. Pushing the forward button makes the aircraft move away from the transmitter, and pushing the back button makes it come back towards you, and so forth. The one downside is that the speed of the aircraft and the amount of control that you have over it is a little limited, simply because of the way the aircraft works. The rotors are spinning one way and the foam body is spinning the other. The swash plate only has a tiny amount of time to act during each rotation. So I've found that you have to pay attention to the aircraft and how it's leaning before you try to make it go in a specific direction. Once you get the feel of it, you'll notice that you can get it to move around a few feet at a time in quick little bursts. I do have to say the aircraft is very good at seeing walls and avoiding them. So far, it hasn't crashed into a single wall, even if I try to make it hit one. So if you're looking for an aircraft that can teach a new pilot how to concentrate on just thrust, then the Space Nova is perfect. It can keep itself from hitting anything while you fly it up and down, and the push-button controls are easy to use when you want to move it around a little bit. It's not an aircraft that can zoom around the room at a high rate of speed, but you can play games with it like zero-gravity air hockey because it can see and avoid your hands. It's fun to try and push it across the room while someone else is trying to stop you. I've really enjoyed trying to come up with little games for it, and if you can come up with any, let us know. We've had a lot of fun testing it out, and it's a nice, long-needed advancement of a classic concept. Very few consumer RC aircraft have the ability to see an obstacle and avoid it. I remember trying out the Blade Star from WowWee a few years ago. It was a noisy aircraft that could sort of react to its environment, but it was hard to launch, hard to control, and not much fun to fly. The technology was cool, but it was a frustrating experience, and it didn't like to come into contact with anything. The Space Nova from Silverlit is definitely a nice advancement. It's sturdy, easy to use, and if the foam body hits something, it usually just keeps on spinning. You can get a good 6-minute flight out of a 30-minute charge from the transmitter, and it looks cool in the air and is fun to push around with your hands. We want to thank FlyingToys.com and Silverlit for letting us test out the new Space Nova, and we want to thank you for watching RC101 with the Taoist Flyer. Subscribe and stay tuned for more.